Hey everyone, it's raining today in western Pennsylvania. It just started becoming pretty windy also. We are going to drive around the abandoned town of Yellow Dog. It was abandoned between 2010 and 2014 after the housing crisis. Lots of bad deals as far as banks. Eventually the water department shut off a bunch of their water, which forced more people to move out of there. So the majority of Yellow Dog is abandoned. There are still people there who do live there. So for that reason, with people still living around the abandoned buildings, I don't think we're going to be able to explore. But we are going to drive around and just see how bad the decay has become in the past 9 or 13 years between theirs when most of it was officially abandoned. I do have my GPS on, so you may hear that thing start talking. I have not been here yet.
In a quarter mile, slight left onto Mock Square Extension.
I am letting it still talk to make sure I do find this place. It's a neighborhood of abandoned houses. And it was heavily vandalized once it was abandoned. And I believe it was heavily vandalized because we're in very close proximity to Pittsburgh. Alright, I'm going to show you outside the side of the window. There's a whole bunch of abandoned three-floor buildings. Yeah, Pittsburgh is close, and that's not the best place as far as crime. I just shut my GPS off, and here's a bunch of the abandoned buildings. Yeah, and they all say no trespassing. Some of them have broken windows, and I see a door wide open. You could literally go right in there. Amazingly, there's not much graffiti, but we're just gonna sit here, zoom in, and look at them. I have my 10x zoom lens optical, so I can get a good look at it from here. And I think we can drive on that street between them also. As you see, they're not that dilapidated because it's only been between 9 and 13 years. But if you look at the roof on this green one, zoom in 10 times, look at the roof just falling apart. That water damage is going to take over really fast. And this means they had bad roofs to begin with. That would not happen in just 13 years. And that's what happens with asphalt shingles. These things would still be very perfect if they had a metal roof. Alright, let's drive around. Alright, the GPS is off. So there's some sort of abandoned garage right here to the right and a lean-to. So what does this sign say? It looks like it used to be gated off completely. But I'm going to quickly drive up here anyways, just for a moment. It says no trespassing there, but it doesn't actually say the road. This one is very dilapidated. Look at the roof on that. Yeah, so these buildings were already very bad off, and it makes sense that they would go bankrupt during the housing collapse, I guess you could call it. You can see these buildings were already not being maintained very well. The people were running out of money, and that was just the end of it, obviously. These buildings never should have got that bad in that little amount of time. Alright, continuing up the road. This road, it looks like it used to be paved, maybe. Yeah, I definitely see asphalt. This thing is really falling apart. Almost every single window has been smashed by vandalism, which is a real shame. Look at all the smashed windows. Doors are wide open. I am loving this optical zoom camera. This is awesome. You can zoom right into this stuff perfectly. 10x optical zoom. That one looks like there was fire in there at one point. The one to my right side is very dilapidated. I'll show that on the way back out. There's still an American flag flying on the one over there. Some of these, a lot of these look like really big duplexes. The building up here almost looks like it's still lived in. Yeah, somebody probably does still live there. You know why I'm not gonna drive up there? Because the guy literally has an alarm across the road. You know, like those hoses you run over at a gas station and it goes ding, ding, ding. He has one of those right there, so I'm not going to drive down the next road. Yeah, the building to the left, the whole porch is just someone dragged out all the belongings out onto the porch. This one has a vintage refrigerator on it. Yeah, old vintage refrigerator. And here's where I was talking about they brought everything out onto the front porch. I would not be surprised if there's homeless people or someone in here. Now this one, look at that. That porch really was in disrepair. That should not have happened in just 13 years. I've been to different complexes that have been abandoned for decades and look better than this place. Because I doubt anyone went up on the roof and vandalized that. Alright, put you back in the windshield. Let's go up this one last road. We cannot even drive up this one, I don't think. Yep. As you see, there's multiple rows of houses here. This is the next road and we can't go, see? They have that yellow chain going right across it. Somebody's down there in that workshop. But you see, this right here was another road. Got two abandoned, well, one abandoned dump truck and an abandoned flatbed truck, which are pretty old themselves. This building here at the end looks like it could have been a business at some point. Wow, that road there is very, very grown in. I think this road was not traveled in a very long time. This road is growing in with grass. You see the old trucks here. And look at the house way up at the end. You can zoom way up to that. Surprisingly, the vandalism doesn't look as bad on these ones. But I'm also not able to get up close. That's a lot of abandoned buildings. Whole ton of them. Yeah, so people vandalize here, and I don't want to be associated with those type of people, because I know I right now am wearing fluorescent stuff all over me. I'm carrying a radio and a bunch of other things on my belt, so I would not look like a vandal, but you never know. These neighbors who live around here, I am sure, are extremely pissed off at what is happening to this area. And you just don't want to add to that. Don't want any conflict. Don't go in any of those buildings. This is not a place to be exploring. Who knows who could be living in there, homeless person or whatnot. It's sad. I would love to explore that place, but it's very possible the building at the end of the first road, it still looks occupied. Somebody is definitely still using that shop at the end there. So there are people around. And the only time I would explore a place like that is if I actually got permission from somebody. Wow, there's a dangerous low-head dam right there. Yeah, so like if I saw one of those people actually out in their yard I would ask. Answer would probably be no, but you never know. I've asked neighbors next to abandoned buildings permission to check out things next to them. You know, you ask permission, it's not their property, but you see if it's okay with them, you know, so the cops don't get called and stuff if they're out in their yard. And surprisingly, the answer is yes, more than it is no. But back there, I don't think that would ever be. Something used to be here, maybe an old mill. See a bunch of foundations around the river. Right here, you see frost heaving next to the river, probably destroyed the road. That's why they had to freshly repave right here on the edge. Well, I can't say I'm mad. I'm glad I came here and got to see it. I got to get some good photographs of buildings that are starting to fall down. And I don't think they're going to be demolishing that stuff anytime soon. Maybe we'll go check it out in another decade and see how much it's decayed, and maybe we can compare before and after how much more they've fallen down. But I can say those buildings 100% were already in very bad disrepair before they went and got bankrupt or whatever the case may be. That is a very sad situation back there. Because you can see a lot of those people actually had to leave their stuff behind. You can see it was brought out onto the porches, and whatever the people couldn't take, obviously those houses were severely robbed on top of the vandalism. Someone's camping right there. It's probably a homeless person, to be honest. And that right there might be a reason why you wouldn't want to go down there. Maybe not. Maybe not homeless people. No, these are definitely people camping here. Probably own property on the edge of the river. No, I guess not. I'm just saying that because we are like only a couple miles away from a major city. It's going to be a rainy night, and the temperature has dropped very fast. We might actually be getting snow tonight. So I'm going to go to the nearest Walmart that will allow us to park overnight and go to sleep, put this video together, and I'll upload it the next time I get to a very good signal for you guys to see. I hope today's video of Yellow Dog Village was interesting. Thanks for watching, and have a great day. Wow, look at the tents. Is this a campsite? Cool place right next to the river. You know, Pennsylvania is one of the best places to go exploring, just because of their laws. In Pennsylvania, if you get hurt on an abandoned property, it is incredibly hard to sue that property owner or anybody for a fact. And that's the reason why there's a lot of things open to the public to explore, and why there's so many dilapidated buildings that just don't get taken care of. I'm gonna go this way, this looks more interesting. While other states would have it demolished very quickly or boarded up. And there'd be so many no trespassing signs. And that right there is the exact reason why in a state like Pennsylvania, you're driving around these country areas and so many people have aggressive signs, no trespassing, because there are a lot of explorers, to be honest. Like every now and then you'll go by someone's property, there's like hundreds and hundreds of signs. I wonder if that person has encountered lots of people or not. You just gotta think about that sometimes. But if you're ever exploring anything, always be very careful and always be very respectful of people's property. And anybody new to the channel, please read my descriptions. Alright everyone, only 10 minutes later, can you see how heavy it is snowing? We are a good amount above freezing, so it's not going to stick right away, but tonight we might pick up a few inches. That's kind of exciting. Grass is already turning green here in Pennsylvania. The trees aren't far behind. At this point, the snow is actually accumulating on the grass. There's a good coating starting already, and we are just about to hit freezing. It'll start on the roads very quickly. Look at that, the rooftops are all white. All right, here we are at Walmart for the night.